All right, everyone. My name is Pascal Borel, and I'm talking to you from Geneva, Switzerland. I'll be back in my Swiss mountains within today or tomorrow. Today, I'm reading to you the book named 2024 that I have written both in French and English, which is available, of course, on Amazon, but also on our website, www.4ovet24.com. It is on the website, totally free of charge. And after each chapter, you'll find a comment section that you can use to share your ideas, to share your will to implement the roadmap that I have drawn for you, which is the shortest path to regiving their strength to our democracies at the service of the only sovereign, the people. This is my last chapter, chapter 14. And this chapter is a message to the elders. Chapter 14, final and last chapter of 2024, message to the elders. A few citations. When I'm wrong, I change my mind. Your past is the place where you learn and grow. It is not the place where you live today. No matter your age, the best moments of your life are always ahead of you. Do not let your past darken the threshold of your future. No wise man wishes to be younger than he is today. Today, you are the oldest that you have ever been and the youngest that you will ever be. A definition of hell. On the day of your death, the person that you have been will meet the person that you could have been or the person that you should have been. You cannot change the past, but from where you stand today, you can change the future. I address the elders. I am deeply saddened to have to write these words. If anyone had told me 40 years ago that you would force me to write this chapter, I would never have believed you. I no longer recognize you. You have changed. Is this your true face? Are you the same father who taught me by example 50 years ago? Are you the same father who taught me our human values, love, gratitude, respect for the others and for nature? Are you the same father who taught me politeness, language, and knowledge? Over the years, my sadness has turned into shame for what, in turn, I leave behind as a legacy. I cannot believe that we have lost so much, that you have abandoned us. It pains me greatly to admit it, but this is my harsh reality. It is a fact that I must accept and a fact with which I must live. Life on Earth is a continual confrontation between living forces. This confrontation accelerates our evolution via the conflicts that it generates, which, once resolved, lead to a period of stability until the next crisis. In our natural environment, viruses trigger diseases that put us in conflict with them, but they also accelerate our evolution, as it has been proven that they can induce genetic mutations which are beneficial to our species as a whole. In human communities, as in nature, conflicts are therefore essential. They are healthy, they accelerate our evolution, and they must be part of our daily lives. Conflict's purpose is not to defeat an adversary, it is to find a solution that satisfies all parties. You have no reason to fear conflict if you defend what seems right, if you have no hidden agenda that serves only your selfish interest at the expense of others. If your intention is pure, if what you propose serves the greatest interest of your community and thus serves your own interest, if you understand that your security comes from your integration in the group, you will live a peaceful life, at peace with yourself. You will begin to appreciate that conflicts and their resolution can serve as a source of your growth and personal well being. The open confrontation of ideas always brings the best solutions, just as politics is the best form of seeking the common good, as long as it is not exclusively in the service of the personal interests of those in charge. As an elder, you no longer have the courage or the energy to manage conflicts. Keeping the peace at home, in inverted comma, has become your only priority. Do you think it possible to have an uncensored, truthful conversation where you share your values, your understanding of the world, your vision with your family and your loved ones? Do you have this generosity? Do you have this courage? Will you be this example? Your problem is that you are manipulated. This manipulation becomes your reality. You listen to the nonsense and lies that are constantly spewed out by your politicians, the lies spun by so called experts, made credible by their title and their degrees, the lies repeated by the national television channels and other mainstream media funded by our governments. You no longer have the courage to impose your argument, your intelligence, your discernment, ensuring a sound and solid reasoning that is rooted in your feelings and values. Somewhere along the line, you are so ashamed of not being the man that you want to be, of not being the example that all your loved ones expect you to be, that you refuse to even talk about it. It is as if you no longer have the courage to take back control of the train that you let crash, even though it would be so easy for you to put it back on track, as you possess all the capabilities to do so. Sweeping things under the carpet, secrecy and omerta are appropriate for the mafia or for the CIA, for governments, or for the justice system of 2024. In fact, secrecy serves all those who need to hide their actions because they are dishonest and shameful. Is this worthy of you? Is this worthy of who you want to be? Is this worthy of your role? Is this worthy of what you offer your family and of what you will leave them as a legacy? Remember, on the day of your death, the person that you have been will meet the person that you could have been or the person that you should have been. Today, you choose whether this meeting will happen harmoniously or shamefully. Only you control how you will leave this world. The breakdown of communication between us mirrors the evolution of our Western civilizations. We have become incapable of communicating without lying, incapable of understanding each other, and worse still, incapable of loving each other. Even between husbands and wives, even within our own families. The reality of human life, which we have created, which serves as the environment of our lives today, promotes extreme behaviors contrary to all the qualities that previously ensured the success of our species. We have lost our ability to communicate in order to collaborate with trust. We have lost our ability to resolve conflicts, to get along, and to share knowledge. We have lost the ability to share our joys and sorrows, our successes and failures, to learn from one another by sharing our feelings about life events as a driving force for our personal development. Under today's modern democracies, the destruction of human values is complete. You accept omerta rather than demanding transparency. You prefer lies to truth. You refuse to honestly discuss your solutions to conflicts with your loved ones. You are finalizing the total destruction of everything that you have inherited from your ancestors. In fact, you are the killer of this inheritance. You are its grave diggers. You are pissing on the graves of your parents. You are pissing on the graves of all your ancestors. And you accept this? You accept to play this role. You prefer your reality, your selfish agenda to justify your abdication of all responsibility. Despite the fact that many of us are offering you on a silver platter the dignity of rendering justice. I offer you the roadmap necessary to claim back what your generation of spineless, soft-bellied men have stolen from us. But of course, you are not interested. You only wish to retain an agenda that serves what you perceive as what preserves your immediate comfort. An agenda in total rupture with reality, an agenda that divides, that disrupts, and destroys all the human values on which we have historically built our success. Or perhaps it is the inertia of your mindset. In fact, the inertia of the comfort of not questioning anything, of not reconsidering anything, even if your nation is in danger, even if your family is in danger, even if your son, your daughter, and your grandchildren are in danger. It is the comfort of turning off your brain, of retaining only what fits the narrative that you have built for yourself. You are only using what suits your petty personal agenda, in total disdain of the interests of your family and complete abandonment of any intellectual honesty that you might have had. This mirrors the dictatorship of ideas imposed upon you by the state and their strongest allies, the media, who have become the worst enemies of humanity. This is the ultimate stage of the disintegration of human families. This has unfortunately become our global model. This is the model that those who most profit from it impose upon us to dominate and to condition us and to compel us in turn to pass on to our own children. This division is found in all areas and all sectors of human activity, even within the family unit. Divide and conquer. Politicians have understood this rule well. It is what they propose and what they impose upon us today to prolong their reign, to maintain the system that grants them power and their quality of life. This division mirrors what is happening to us. We have betrayed human values, family values, and religious values, which are the only values that truly unite us, which alone are truly our strength, and which set us apart from all other living species. When this division goes so far as to separate family members, the state has succeeded. The legal framework has succeeded. The state school education has succeeded. It is a simple power game in which one must divide to conquer. Through your indifference and your blind acceptance, you are an active player in this dynamic. If you have not realized it, if this happens without your knowledge, I might call you an active victim. But the real problem is that you revel in your role as a victim. You love being a victim. You do not know how to be anything else but a victim. You believe yourself to be too small and to be too weak to do anything else but a victim. Your education gave you nothing else. You use your victimization as an excuse to absolve yourself of any responsibility. It is not your fault. It is always others, always the others. You are responsible for nothing. In fact, your resignation is total. You can hide behind the educational system or the media that shaped you in this way, but that is no excuse. I am sure that you are fully aware of the harm that you cause to those around you, to your family, to your close friends, when you stray from your true self. You may avoid subjects that make you uncomfortable or subjects that provoke an exchange of viewpoints in a discussion. But by avoiding these situations, you offload the responsibilities that you are incapable of facing onto others. You have become fragile and weak because you believe yourself to be totally dependent on the material goods that you use on a daily basis. You are fragile because you are convinced that your life depends solely on the accumulation of goods. You are convinced that if you are deprived of your home, that if you do not have 6 months worth of food stored, that if you are deprived of your insurance policies and other absurd administrative guarantees, that you will die, that you will not survive. You are the very definition of fragility, which is nothing more than total dependence on a single environment for survival. You are convinced that without your small daily comforts, your chances of survival are nil. You are so fragile and dependent that you are ready to sacrifice everything for your security, to sacrifice your children, to sacrifice your family, to sacrifice your spirituality, to sacrifice your culture, to sacrifice your nation. You are ready to sacrifice everything that has enabled humanity to become the marvel that nature has crafted. You are so fragile that you no longer even realize that whatever the circumstances of life, you always have two choices: a step backward into security or a step forward into growth. Today, you no longer want to grow. You no longer want to evolve. You are no longer capable of evolving. You live in fear of losing. You walk backward towards what you believe is security. But may I remind you, the only real danger, the only real risk in human life is not to take any risks. But you do not want to take any risks. Your ultimate ambitions are reduced to your immediate comfort. In fact, you are no longer a human being. You are no longer a man. You have lost everything. You have let them rob you of your very identity. To write this text, I had to distance myself even further from the current functioning of our Western civilizations, not out of indifference or out of contempt, but on the very contrary, out of love, out of the respect for you, and above all, to be honest with you and with myself. I lived in a lie for the first 40 or 50 years of my life. That was my truth, the one that I shared with my family, with my colleagues in my professional environment, with all the so-called well-intended specialists and experts of our modern world. Even worse, I was an active participant in the grotesque masquerade in which Western democracies make us live. I knew something was wrong, but I was so blinded by my consumption, by the opulence, by the success of the system offered me, that I voluntarily became an ardent promoter of the system. Just thinking about it, I feel ashamed with myself. How is it possible that it took me nearly half a century to get back on track? I tried several times with close friends or family to share my analysis of the need to propose a different model. Most of the time, all I got in return was misunderstanding, contempt, or mockery from people who reminded me that I was myself benefiting from this very system, using it to give my obscene quality of material life, with which I was totally obsessed. In the cultural model of 2024's democracies, they are right. But in a way, they did understand when I argued that the system has to change. but they were incapable of drawing the same conclusions and of acting upon them, as they were equally obsessed about how they could justify maintaining the level of material comfort that they had in their own lives. I do not blame anyone, but this is where the problem lies. From your earliest childhood, your education provides you with knowledge instead of values. You learn to have rather than to be. You have knowledge, you have houses, you have cars, to have more than others. You are convinced that your possessions, whatever they may be, are your most precious assets, that they define your social status, that they reflect your value to yourself and to your community. You have replaced your spirituality with material goods and knowledge. And if education gives you knowledge instead of values, you will have a miserable life. Your education has never taught you to cherish values above all. Values which alone can provide the solution necessary for our communal life, values alone that will provide you with an accomplished life. You take refuge in your knowledge and your certainties, preferring your material goods over the human being that you could or that you should be. You prefer your selfish comfort over sharing with your fellow humans. To summarize, après moi le déluge. From my point of view, from my earliest childhood, the, the strongest man in the world is my father. Because in a world built on values, he is my foundation, my base. Father of the family, father of the nation, and father in the heavens. My father is the patriarch. I am his son, and this is how sons see their fathers. I model my behavior upon his behavior. He's my direct ancestor. He's my reference. He's my most precious example. And even if I lose him, he will always remain the architect of my thoughts. It will be thus until the day I die. Nature made me this way because it is good for me. It is good for our species. It is a factor of success and longevity. Yes, my father, the patriarch, is my example. It is thanks to him that every day when I wake up, I choose the man that I am, the man that I will be today, and the man that I want to be tomorrow. It is through what our fathers have given us, through what they have made of us, that every morning we choose the values that govern our lives, the values that dictates our actions, and the values that shape our behavior towards those close to us. No one is an exception to this rule. That is why, at this point, I address the patriarchs directly. It is because we respect them. We reproduce their models, and by their example, they define our action and who we truly are. This is why, on my knees, I implore you, take back your role. Set the record straight. Be the example that we all need. It is simple. Use your gut feelings. Use your intelligence to counter manipulation. Prefer the truth over lies. Take action. Just be yourself. Free yourself. Show us the way. Through your example, give us the courage to regain control from those who divide us instead of uniting us. Give us the courage to silence the snakes who lie to protect their personal agendas, who insult and accuse to provoke wars, who terrorize us to manipulate us better. It is up to you to find your courage and to share it so that we may look forward to a future. It is crazy, but that is where we are. Why do you not do it? Have you lost all your humanity? Have you removed from your life what makes a family beautiful and strong? The love that binds us all to each other. Is this really your true face? Do you realize the harm that your resignation is doing to your loved ones and to all future generations? Only you know the answers. Know that if you were ever to go through a trial or a torment, even one much less intense than what I feel whilst I'm writing these lines, I would never leave you. I would be by your side immediately. I will always be there with you. I will be there for you unconditionally in all weathers. Nothing, neither you or no one else, will ever stop me from being your father, from being your son, from being your friend, from being your ally, from being your guide. That is nothing exceptional. I will not have to force myself. It is absolutely normal. It is the minimum that you can expect from me, the minimum that you can expect from a true relationship between two human beings. These are my values. This is the example that I want to be. This is what permits me to live with dignity in the world that I have chosen, in the world that I offer you, in the world that I want to leave as a legacy to my children. In this world, I trust that I'm known for what I have built, and this text mirrors how I am in life. Critical, but constructive, never destructive, never hateful, and never disrespectful. I'm not advocating for any form of violence. I'm advocating social, I am not advocating social chaos. I want true justice. I want proper rules that unite us. I want to give you back your sovereignty. I want the world to belong to you. I want you to be proud of yourself and of your contribution to the success of humanity as a whole. You can interpret my words as you wish, depending on how you are feeling and depending if you are honest with yourself or what you really want to take out of this. You should know that in accomplishing my duty towards you, my duty, I lost everything. I lost my son. I lost my daughter. I lost my wife. And I lost a large part of my own family and friends. From a multimillionaire, I became one of the poorest men in Switzerland. I am taking existential risks because, for example, I have already been sued for defamation by the Swiss justice system. I have already been physically threatened by some of the people that I have openly named in my videos, on the social networks, and on my website, www.forovet24.com. I have already been a victim of financial collusion between state organizations and their accomplices in the banking, pharmaceutical, and insurance sectors. In fact, I was subjected to pressure from all the industries that support the money-making machine of those in power, who are all protected by the so benevolent judicial authorities. Swiss justice, or should I rather say, the justice of all Western democracies, does not permit me to tell you the truth, to prove my good faith to you. In Switzerland, I am legally not allowed to do what is in the interest of the vast majority of citizens. In Switzerland, I am legally not allowed to propose the solutions that would restore citizens' responsibilities, rights, and duties. In Switzerland, I am legally not allowed to do what is in the interest of my own nation. It is an upside-down world. Anyone who tries to improve our systems of governance are immediately treated as criminals. We all know that financial interests control everything. Financial interests have the force of the law behind them. But we also know that they are corrupting our nations and that they are the true cancer of our world. Let me provide you with another illustration. Long before I was born, my great-grandfather, Mr. Antoine Borel, received an award from the Swiss Federal Council for services rendered to the nation. He received a beautiful Zenith watch, which he passed down to my grandfather, who in turn gave it to me because he wanted me to wear it in honor of the courage of my ancestors. I deeply treasure it, and I will make sure that in turn I will pass it on to my son, Rakam Borel. In 2024, services rendered to the Swiss nation no longer justify any reward. In fact, those services are punishable by imprisonment because most of the time, doing what is truly in the citizens' interests is in complete opposition to the hidden financial interests of politicians and actually obstructs their remorseless pursuit of absolute power. Once again, it is an upside-down world. But I am a Borel. I do not define myself by the sum of the events around me. I am what I decide to make of the events around me. The opinions that others have of me simply do not exist. Others' opinions have no influence on my thinking or on my intellectual path. I have such confidence in myself, such confidence in the virtue of what I propose to you. I feel that strength in myself that nothing and no one can stop me or make me turn back from the path that I have already planned for us to travel together. My intention is pure. The purpose of my project is your fulfillment, not mine. I hide, I hide nothing from you. My commitment at your side is total. Everything that I offer you comes from the guts. It is who I am without limits, without subterfuge. This is what I give you, and you will do with it as you see fit. It will be your choice. Just know that my commitment to you is total. I do it for you. I do it to win together with you. I do it so that humanity's enemies are forced to fight a man who no longer has anything to lose. Because, as you can easily comprehend, never fight an enemy who has nothing to lose, for you are already defeated. I will remain faithful to you. I will only stray from my path if you can convince me that it is in the interest of all humanity and in the interest of the wonderful world in which we all live. If our success means that I have to die, I will be happy to leave this world because I know that I will have contributed to making the world a better place. I will know that I will have contributed to its rebirth. I will know that I will have contributed to giving it back to you. I do not want to sever ties with the world in which I was born. On the contrary, I want to restore to the world its simplicity and its beauty. But to accomplish this, I need you. As I told you at the beginning, I propose that we go on a journey together. I offer you my rope and the roadmap that will allow us to reach the summit. But I need you because without you, without your participation, without your determination, we are both doomed to remain in the valley. It is an alliance. I have already traveled the path to the summit, and I propose that we travel this path once again, but this time together, you and I. It is an alliance, and like any alliance, it must go both ways. The commitment to the alliance must also come from you. The alliance implies that you commit to standing by my side, that we are united, solid, driven by the same will to be the example that we must give to all. It is up to me, but also up to you to do what is essential. It is up to me, but also up to you to defend the majority when we are unjustly attacked by individuals who only have their personal interest at heart. It is up to me, but also up to you to walk the path that will lead us to our destination. It is up to me, but also up to you to become what we deserve to be. It is up to me, but also up to you to offer the world a forum for totally free and open discussion with no place for lies, and where people can share their values, their understanding of the world, and their life projects. We must do this all together, you and I, all of us, even with those that you consider today your enemies. Will you accompany me in the constitutional walks? Will you accept the rope that I hold out to you? Do you have this generosity? Do you have this courage? Do you have this strength? Do you have this confidence in yourself? Allow me to put you on the track. It takes three key qualities to forge a man who will impact the world. A man capable of transmitting life while still fulfilling his family role. A man capable of moving mountains to advance our civilizations. These three qualities are the direct route to an accomplished life. They are 1. Intelligence, 2. Energy, 3. Courage. 1. Intelligence is our common denominator. 99% of humans possess it. We all have a brain particularly well constructed by Mother Nature. We are all capable of understanding our environment and adapting to it, to survive, to make good decisions, and to transmit life under the best possible conditions. 2. Energy. Energy is a rarer quality. No more than 10 to 20% of humans possess it. It permits you to remain active 18 hours a day and to sleep only 6 hours a day. It permits you to start a business, to found a family, or to train hard in order to try and win an Olympic gold medal. 3. Courage. Courage is the most important quality, and it is also the rarest. In 2024, at most 1% of all humans possess this quality. For example, who has the courage to question their university education? Who has the courage to propose the constitutional amendments essential to give back their strength to our democracies? Who has the courage not to lie, live by the tenet, lies will not pass through me? Who has the courage to remain faithful to their spouse, faithful to their children, and faithful to their entire family? Who has the courage to put the family's interest above their personal financial interests? Who has the courage to remain true to their life projects without ever giving up, without letting themselves be corrupted? Who has the courage not to let their objectives be thwarted by the petty opportunities that continually tempt us along life's rich path? Are my examples clear enough? Do I really need to continue ridiculing 99% of human race? The reality is, at the most, 1% of all humans are courageous. Now, be sure you possess these three qualities. They can be acquired at any age. It is, above all, a personal choice determined by 1. Your education, 2. Your family environment, 3. Your attitude towards life's events. Or rather, the person that you choose to be in the face of life's event. These three qualities determine whether you will fight for what you believe in, to defend your values, to achieve your goals, or whether you will give up, remain fragile, remain weak, dominated by life, in fact, dominated by others who are braver than you. Those who fight may lose, but those who do not fight have already lost. It is a deliberate choice that you have to make with your conscience. As a patriarch, this is the example that you decide to give to those around you. The example that will dictate their actions because you are their model. There are roles that we have not necessarily chosen, but that we are forced to take at some point, such as life. Upon the death of your father, you will become the patriarch of your family. Your role will be to set the tone, to be the tuning fork for the whole of your family. The vital importance of this role necessitates that today, now, you prepare to take the reins and assume your responsibility and fulfill your duty to all your ancestors, the ones who offered life to you. If you do not do this, your descendants will live a miserable life. One day, my friend John, returning from a 4-6 month trip to India, told me this. Life is divided into 3 phases. The first phase of life is childhood. You are free. You discover the world. It is yours. You take possession of it. You explore how to fit in and how to get the most out of it. You define what you want to be, and you define what you will be. The second phase of life is adulthood. You must be responsible. You must live with a spouse to transmit life and have children. You must accumulate possessions to put a roof over your head, to put food on the table, to pay for your descendants' education. You are a slave to your possessions. You cannot be anything else, even if you wanted to. The third phase of life is old age, wisdom. It is about giving yourself to the younger generations, divesting yourself of everything that you own while you are still alive, to regain the freedom of childhood, to free yourself of all constraints that prevent you from being yourself and that prevent you from thinking freely in order to share who you are without anything or anyone exerting any pressure upon you, to allow you the full freedom of what you choose to be and what you choose to offer to your grandchildren. It is a beautiful simplification of our human lives. When first hearing the story almost 30 years ago, I knew that this was going to be my path and the path that I would choose. But I did not immediately make the decision to walk this path, blinded by my obscene material comfort and professional success. Ultimately, it was the circumstances of life that pushed me into it. These circumstances were in fact a gift that allowed me the chance to truly live through each of these three life phases. It is as if I had to go through this to become who I am today. An old man, but an old man free to walk, free to think, free to write, and free to speak. It is a gift from Mother Nature. It is the gift that the path of life that I have chosen has offered me. I have become myself once again. It took me time to understand this because at first, losing my family and relinquishing my old way of life caused me a lot of suffering. It is precisely this pain that gave me strength. Strength that I probably already had deep inside me, but that I had never been forced to use. And you only truly discover your strength when using it becomes your sole and last option. All of this leads me to the following conclusion. If someone had the power to make me go back in time and permit me to erase all these suffering from my life, I would refuse categorically to so do, without the slightest hesitation, because doing so would mean losing the strength and determination that I gained from this experience. I thank life for its generosity. I had the chance to die and remain alive. In our Western culture, I lost everything, so I died. But I'm lucky to see what happens after my death. It is a second birth. I rediscover how I fit into the world. I rediscover my role. I rediscover my function. I have a purpose. I have become free once again, free from material constraints, free from familial obligations, free from everything that no longer seems absolutely necessary for my physical life and for my relationships with truly good people. I devote my time to those who wish to use my journey to improve theirs, or simply to avoid the mistakes that I made. Knowledge can be, no knowledge can be forced upon me to obtain a diploma, a certificate, or other redundant university qualifications. No narrative is imposed upon me. I feel profound sadness for all those who are forced to lie publicly to defend wars, to defend what divides human beings, to defend the purely financial logic that they impose upon you and on which they build our world. I define myself by my values. I have a code of honor. No code of procedures can influence me if it does not defend what I consider to be in the best interest of human life. For me, anything that does not defend our ability to express our talents in an accomplished life is non existent, is null and void, is my enemy, and must die to be replaced. I no longer have the obligation to be part of the herd that leads me to the abyss. My value comes only from the fact that I will never again be part of that herd. This wonderful path that I was so fortunate enough to walk, dying while still alive, permitted me to reintegrate a very rare species, one that is on the verge of extinction from the face of the earth. I am a man, once more. This is what I offer you. This is what I offer to all men and women who wish to be human beings once more. I offer it to you without you having to go through the same sufferings that I did. Climb on my shoulders, lean on me, use me to lift yourself up. Be inspired by my failures and my successes to bring you, yourself, back to life, to enrich your ties with your family. Be inspired by my defeats and by my victories. Bring light into your heart. Illuminate all your loved ones with who you really are, with what Mother Nature has made of you, with your gratitude, with your experience, and with your benevolent wisdom. I know that you will do it. In fact, you have already begun doing it. Thank you. Thank you for your benevolent and kind attention. Peace out.